Hello everyone, welcome back to my second episode of Cyber Shield Chronicles by Hezron Munge. This is a continuation video series of how to build a basic free cybersecurity home lab. Before you continue watching this video, consider just checking out my previous video on my YouTube channel where I showcased how to install VirtualBox on Windows 11, just to provide you some insights on how to create a virtual environment for this particular task. So without further ado, I will continue back to my blog where I just have documented on why I chose Kali Linux over other security OS. So there are different flavors of security OSs. For this particular video, I'll be doing Kali Linux, but I'll do a separate video on Parrot OS. For this case, I'm running Kali Linux, which is a smart and safer way of exploring its capability without risking the operating system. So essentially what I'm going to do, I'm going to take advantage of the test security tools that comes along with this particular version of Kali Linux. And it's used by both security professionals and beginners just to get to understand how they do work without harming providing potential harm to some of the computers. Just a note to take, please remember to handle these tools and techniques ethically and responsibly. So probably the first thing to check would be the system requirements, and for Kali Linux we have both low end and high end. For our case, we'll be diving in for the high end because we want to experience the desktop experience. And for this matter, it requires at least 2 GB of RAM and at least 20 GB of free hard disk. So other than that, I'll be posting this blog immediately after I'm done with this video so that you can also just have a look at the write-up. So quickly we'll go into what is expected of us. So you'll quickly go to the Kali Linux organization portal. I'll share the link on the video down below, but just to highlight, this is what you'll get. You'll quickly go and select the installer image. It's under this section, so I'll click on it. Then it takes me to these installer images. For my case, I'll be taking the 64-bit, and I'll just quickly click on this recommended one. So what will happen, it will quickly pop to allow me to save. So for purposes of time, I'd already downloaded it, so I'll cancel this. Then I'll quickly go and under start and search for VirtualBox. So once you click on VirtualBox, it should be able to launch the software. So I have mine already open, so I'll quickly go into this menu of my machine, then create a new instance. So I'll give it a name, Kali Linux 2023. So I'll leave everything else on default. This is where my virtual environment will be stored. So I'll also be tasked to select the image. I'll go under desktop. So I'll choose Kali. It's an ISO image. So quickly, then I'll click on next. So under this next interface, you'll be able to see and allocate. So as I'd already highlighted, I'll be going to give it 2 GB of RAM as well as at least 1 CPU, but this can always change. So for my case, for purposes of demonstration, I'll just leave it at 1 CPU, but let me do 2 and also pump it up to around let's give it at least 4. So then I'll click on next. So for these, I'll of course, it's given me a hard disk of 25 GB. I'll leave that as default and click on next. So up to this point, I think we have everything already sorted and taken care of, so I'll click on finish. Then this has already been created, this instance has already been created here, so I'll quickly proceed and start it up. So what I've done, I've right clicked on it, click on start, then I'll just do a normal start. So I'll let it pop up. So as it's doing that, I know it's still powering up. This might take quite some time, but for purposes of just wrapping up, once it pops up, it will be a matter of just clicking next. So on this particular window, allow me to put it in full screen. Then for this particular section, I'll do the graphical install. So I'll select the first option. So it's still loading. This might take quite some time depending on the speeds of your machine. So for the default language, I'll use English. Click on continue. For location, for purposes of this particular video, it depends on where you are, but for my case, I'm in Kenya. So for purposes of time, I'll just leave the default as USA, but depending on where you are, you'll select what you have. Then I'll click on continue. Then I'll be using the American English because that's the keyboard, how my keyboard has been set up. Click on continue. So it's detecting and mounting the installation media. So this might take quite some time, but you should be patient enough, because I know for this particular video series, it's all about patience, so that we are able to learn within the scope that we've been provided. But for now, let's let it continue loading. So it's still configuring the network. So on this particular section of where you'll be requested to configure the network, so the host name, I'll leave it as Kali as default, because still this is still a demo. So I'll click on next. For the domain, I'll leave it as is, blank is okay. So here is where you create the account. So for my case, I'll use my username hchacha and click continue. So it's already picked the username, so I'll also click on continue. So I'm just going to input my password, and for that case, a very strong password. I'll repeat that password. So then click continue. For this case, I'll just click on continue. So it's detecting the disks. For this particular section on partition of disks, it's recommended you leave it as use of entire disk, but in live environment, consider using the other options. Then I'll just continue, click on next. So it's already created the partition. I'll click on continue. For this, I'll continue the default, which is all files in one partition. Then for this particular section, I'll also use the default, finishing the partition and writing on the disk. Then for this particular section, I will write the changes on disk, so I'll change it from no to yes and click continue. And this will now be installing the base system, so it's just a matter of waiting. So please, let's give it some time. So this is where we exercise our patience. So let's give it time to install the interdependencies. So depending on the speeds of your machine, you should be able to take at least not more or less than at least 5 minutes. But for now, let's see how my laptop performs. I told you these are refurbished laptop, so those in the call, probably you'll understand that we are using what we have at our disposal. So for purposes of time, let's give it time to install. So we are finally here. So since we are looking at the desktop experience, we'll just click on continue with the default that have been selected. So it shows 1 minute, less than 60 seconds still remaining on the installation. So we have 700 over 800 out of 2000 files to be installed. We're still waiting for the selected and installation of the softwares. Still unpacking and installing. So finally, after a long wait, I anticipated it to happen in less than 10 minutes, but it's been over 20 minutes before we got to this particular screen. So I'm going to install and confirm installation of the GRUB bootloader. So I'll just click on continue. Then I'm going, of course, to select the hard drive. So I'll select these where I'll install the GRUB loader. So I'll select that, then click on continue. So it will also take some time, probably not more time than before to install. So probably for now it's finishing on the installation, then we should be good to go. For now, this is where we've been able to access the patients so far. So let's give it another few minutes before it can finish the installation. Finally, the installation has completed. So I'll click on continue for it to reboot. Then we'll be prompted to enter the username and the password that we created. Then that will be it for this particular video. For now, let's allow it to reboot. So it's just following the boot process. So on the screen that will be prompted, so remember I created my username as hchacha and also did enter a strong password. That's what I'm going to enter. So for now we are able to log in, and that's the interface that you will get. So probably for purposes of time, I think I'll be able to showcase in the next video on some of the prerequisites or the post installation activities that we need to do even before we can start utilizing the Kali Linux to perform the penetration testing. So that will be it for this particular video. See you in the next video where I'll be showcasing the post installation activities. Then that will be it. So for purposes of closing this particular video, kindly consider leaving a comment, liking the video, sharing with your friends and family, and of course continue subscribing to their YouTube channel so that I can continue producing more videos. Thank you for being patient with this installation process. I will close this video at this juncture. Bye bye.